Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Uncomfortable Truth. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. Sam, I know it's been a depressing one. You to be honest, have been depressed
For a
for
while.
a few weeks.
But it's one of those things, like, it's been like, even at the worst of times, you always just thought, you know what, Manchester Derby, we might see something. Like on the Ollie, we could sneak a Manchester Derby win. On the Jose, like we've been able to just like sneak a win. Might not have a big impact on the whole season, but you know what, it's something. Yeah, it's done now.
Mm,
There's nothing else. Like, unless we beat Liverpool next week, there's nothing else to really be happy about.
mm.
Yeah, we're down bad. We're just too down bad right now. I don't really know what to. Let's just hope next season. Let's wait for next season. Hopefully we get some players. Hopefully we start to do something. Title charge next season, 21 and 23. Let's say that 21 and 23.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah, I have to hope.
But yesterday's game is not even a surprise.
Mm.
It's not a surprise when you think about what's actually happened. Um, yeah,
You there? Uh, well, I think Jinky might have frozen out for a bit. Technical difficulties, people. Are we back? Uh, well, yeah. Tonight was supposed to be, well, we're supposed to be talking about, are Man City the best Premier League squad in history? With Man City recently, they've been just winning a lot. Like, they've got this about to be, if all things go well this season, it's their fourth Premier League in 5 years, which is like unforeseen by like many teams. So I think like we have to give them their credit, and we're looking into like looking at them and looking at the squad they have. The fact that their second team is on par with most people's first teams, we have to start asking these kind of questions: are they the best ever Premier League side? And I know now, like, some fans are probably like screaming, "Oh, the Invincibles! Oh, the treble team!" But the level of dominance Man City have had, you can argue we've never seen it ever, like, before at all. But yeah, it's a bit of a crazy one. It's a bit of a crazy one.
am I back now, Sam? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. I think
Yeah,
I think
apologies on that
Ralph
one.
Ragnick kind of got mad at you. He sent out the goons. I think no, remember the Sheikh Mansour. He's after you. Remember last time as well. He's after you for all those for all the slander you've put on Man City. He's mad at you. He's
Mm.
mad at you.
Well, to be fair, apologies on that one, guys. Modern technology seems to the more technical it gets, the worse it sometimes gets here.
Mm.
But yeah, as Sam pointed out, we're here to talk about ultimately Man City, and we're going to talk a bit about the game. We're going to essentially then really delve deep into, look, have this? Sam and I were both Manchester United fans. And this is a very uncomfortable truth in the fact that have Man City essentially replaced Man United, or if you're a rival fan, I'm sure Chelsea fans and Arsenal fans have also got something to say about this. But have they essentially replaced everyone, and Pep's Man City team are now the number one team, the greatest Premier League team that we've actually seen? And we're not here just to say mad stuff for the sake of it. We're gonna back this up. This is not a conversation that I'm particularly enjoying, but it's a reality. It's a truth that we want to debate, and fans like get involved. Have your say, be on the live comments and discuss it. But yeah, yesterday's game, like, you just look at the defending, you look at the attacking. You see one team that knows exactly what they're doing, who seem quicker, who seem stronger.
Yeah.
Everybody is a part of the cause. It doesn't matter who is out, who comes in. The quality doesn't seem to change. You can't really say that about Manchester United anymore. You know, ironically, in terms of attack, you had what was seemingly quite a top heavy team. Now it's slim pickings. Like we don't even have an out and out striker.
Okay, I don't even know how that even. We went from having too many strikers to no strikers. I don't know how that happened in one season. Like there was one point in which we were like, oh, we didn't have enough players, or Rashford can't play striker, it's all looking bad, blah blah blah, this, that, blah blah. This season we were saying we have too many strikers. We had four. And now we've gone from having 4 strikers. Some you might not rate, some you do rate fine, but having the depth was something. And now we've got barely even one. Like, one's on vacation, shampooing his hair, and doesn't even care enough to shop for training. Another one is looking so stiff. The guy's so stiff, and I'm pretty sure his muscles just gave up because it's just too much Botox in them. I'm pretty sure they've all just like Ronaldo's absolutely just gone off the rails. And then let's not even talk about the whole situation with Greenwood. We know what happened there. Like we'll leave it at that. And then Martial, who everyone claimed that like we bought him, golden boy. Everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing. People are comparing him to Henry because of where he grew up, because of the Monaco thing. And then he's just never. He hasn't done anything, and now he's on loan, injured at Sevilla, like coasting through some dead title race that he's not actually gonna win. Like, what are we really doing right now?
Yeah, but this is the thing. So we could sit here and we could talk about and slander lots of players at Manchester United. I feel like that was done properly to some great degree yesterday. I'm sure that was what all the reaction was yesterday, and ultimately probably was just going to be repeating and being an echo chamber for everyone else. But let's forward the conversation now and let's talk about this Pep's Man City team. In short, are they the greatest Premier League team in history? Now, the challenges I've heard when it comes to Man City is they need to keep doing it. They can't just win once. They can't just win twice. They need to show an era of dominance. Well, here's the era of dominance for you guys. Manchester City have had the biggest points total in Premier League history. They've got to 3 figures. They got to that 100-point mark. They then defended that. Following year, 98 points. Okay, the season after they finished second, but the season after that they won the league again, and are now pushing for a 4th Premier League title in 5 years. Now you're probably saying, well, where does Man City leapfrog Man United in that respect? Man United have got the most Premier League titles, rah rah rah. But we're talking about this particular team here, where people are arguing that the Premier League is the most competitive that it's ever been, compared to back in the day, where there was perhaps just one or two, and certainly the rest weren't exactly competitive. This is the same Man City team who've scored the most goals. They've had the biggest goal difference margin in plus 79. So I think the goals that they've scored, I think it's over 106 goals they've scored. They've had the biggest title winning margin over Manchester United of like 19 points. They've had the most wins in a season, which is 32. They've had the most they've joint most at home, and they've had the most away wins in a season, and they've had the most consecutive wins in a season. When you look at any positive attribute when it comes to a team achieving something, Man City have now hit the record for a lot of them. So we've got to ask the question here, and this is where I feel, Sam, it'd be good to get your thoughts in it, and it'd be good to see what people's comments in the live comments are saying here, because these are the facts. These are the facts. This isn't conjecture. This isn't a knee-jerk reaction. This is 5 years in the making.
Yeah, well, for me, I think for Man City, as an institution of football, they are about 10, 15 years ahead of everyone else in Europe. And I'm including everyone, Bayern Munich, PSG, I don't like whatever club you can name, they are at the minimum 5 years ahead, because the way they've set up their whole regime, like, it's just too crazy. It's too much to handle, because they've basically scouted the world, and I'm just gonna pick whatever players they want and then put them into their team. And they're also at that point where they can bully other clubs into selling a player, because then you're going to Man City. Like, Man City is like, although they're not a massively historical club, you're like, well, this is one of the best performing teams in Europe consistently. You're almost guaranteed a Premier League in 2 years. So what, like, why wouldn't you go there? However, in regards to all time, I still don't know about that. Because one thing a lot of the best Premier League sides have been able to do is also conquer Europe simultaneously. I have not, although they made a Champions League final, did not win it. 2, they've had multiple instances of them just being knocked out by teams that are subpar, like Lyon. That Lyon game was atrocious. And I just don't think you can honestly call yourself the greatest Premier League side or the greatest era of dominance when you haven't conquered Europe at the same time as conquering your league. For example, the treble winning side. You, like, people might say, oh, a lot of last minute winners, a lot of this, a lot of that, but you can't change the fact that they won everything. There was like no disputing this team had done everything they needed to do in one season. Even the 08 side was competing with some of the best sides in existence, and beat them all to get a Champions League and Premier League double. And like, Man City, for me, just haven't been at that level where, although we might know it, they haven't proven that this is the team. Like, we are the best team in Europe. I think at that point you can't really give them like the full credit that they are trying to get.
But the fact is that the question is, have they taken over as the greatest team in the Premier League history? So it's Premier League. So saying, no, we're not going to give it to him because of their Champions League exploits. Well, we're not. This wasn't. They're the greatest team ever, to be assembled in Europe. But when they've literally done what they've done in the Premier League, and they've done that for a period of time now, to show consistency, the defended titles, they're in a process of defending another title. How can we not give them that?
Because that is the hardest thing to do. Like, you're trying to juggle both at the same time. It's a 2-person job. Like, trying to both, because you can say any team in a season can win a Champions League. Like, it might be a bit of luck. It might not be like the most impressive thing, but that's quite hard. And then people say that winning the Premier League or winning a league is harder because that's consistency over time. Doing both at the same time to a high level, to assert your dominance over like your whole country, be like, we're so good, even other teams in other countries can't even beat us, and showing to your country that this is the level you need to aspire to be at. Because when United won in 08, everyone else was like, wow, that's the level. We're looking at City now.
But Sam, what's the level? Because Man City have decimated what that 08 team have done in the Premier League. They have.
In terms of in the league, sure, but You have to understand they're juggling it while making and winning a Champions League final. Like that just adds the extra brownie points. Like let me put it in context. It's like if you're making a cake and you're entering a competition for like a bake sale. If you have just like the cake there and it looks good, everyone's like, oh, it's such a nice cake, it tastes nice, all of that. But if you add like the extra, like imagine you add some cupcakes around it, add some extra sprinkles, all that kind of stuff. Like people are like, oh, this is even a new level, or even if you add like another tier of cake, that's a new thing. Like it's not the same type of football. It's not the same type of football level you can compare because
I
they're
no,
not
I,
able to reach both levels.
I see. This is where I disagree, and I think this is where Man United fans, make me a social pariah. I don't care. Like, get a bit too butthurt and try to hold on to the past about too many things, and
Hmm.
this is where it all comes in. The little deflection of the tactics. We're talking about Premier League, greatest Premier League. I want to hear you right now talk about and debating me over Man United's Premier League history with Fergie. I want to, if there are Chelsea fans out there, because you keep going on about this shitty defensive record that you had in 2005 when I think you conceded 15 goals. So for some strange reason, you think in your head that makes you the greatest Prem team ever. I want to hear your comments and how you think you're better than a team who got 100 points. I want to hear the old Arsenal fans who keep going on about the Invincibles, where I'm pretty sure TV was black and white. If I actually watch reruns now of Arsenal winning that league, I can't even see half the players' faces anymore. I want to hear your comments. I want to get on the calls. I want to hear your comments on why you think you are generally better than a team who can smash it and go generally for titles in 5.
Oh no, I don't personally. I don't think Chelsea and Arsenal can really chat, especially Arsenal. They might say they're invincible, blah blah blah, like all that nonsense. You want it then what happened the next season, and then the season afterwards, and the season afterwards, and then again and again and again. Like they couldn't keep it up for a longer amount of time. Like and Man City have literally almost done the equivalence of winning. They might have lost maybe like one or two more games, but like come on, like they're winning, like getting 100 points, winning domestic trebles. Like Arsenal need to relax. Arsenal fans love to celebrate mediocrity. That's what we need to accept. With Chelsea fans, they love to like their one small moments. They hold on to them so much,
Mm.
like, and they will try to big it up to be bigger than it actually was. Yes, Chelsea have done good things in the Premier League, but since then it's been surpassed. Like there's nothing like they can't really talk anymore about we've done the most wins in a season or we've gotten the most points, blah blah blah. No, that's all gone. That's all gone, and they need to accept that. Like a new money team has surpassed them. With United, they have done so much in the Premier League in multiple different times that it's so hard, and not just doing it in the Premier League, doing it in on all fronts. Man City haven't
Guys,
been able on all fronts, so I think they need to just relax for a second, let the big boys talk for a second, and then we'll then talk about your clubs and what you do.
well, guys, listen, you've seen the link in the description there. If you want to call in and have your say, whether it's to back the Man City argument, to defend Manchester United or Chelsea or Arsenal, then hit that link, get on that StreamYard link, and come through. As I said, we are also on Twitter and Instagram, so feel free to have your thoughts there. If you think we're talking mad shit, then feel free to post it, give your thoughts, and see if more people want to come in and have this debate. Because ultimately, as I said, this should be something where I want to see some passion from United fans. I'm always hearing it. I know that you'll never be as big. We've seen all the top red debates.
Mm.
Let's talk truths now. We've had the rivalry, but this is the reality now. This is the reality. It's a sad reality, But if you feel like you've got something else, then have your say. Look, for me, there's an argument to be had. We can even take this and go one step further. Tactics. Arguably, this is probably one of the best tactics we've seen in the Premier League football. In what Pep Guardiola is doing. Now, a lot of people will start. I can see the triggers already starting. Oh, how can you say that about Sir Alex Ferguson? He had the best tactics. He had the best football. In terms of entertainment, when you think about what they did to the very end of the game, sort of thing, that never say die attitude, you can't ever take that away. But tactically, this was also a manager who didn't have an answer for Pep. He didn't have an answer for Pep. Let's be honest. We all know the games. We all know the games. We've all seen the Champions Leagues. But Pep and his tactics, that there is an element of real consistency now and dominance, real dominance. There's the fact that they've gone against the grain, and you could say, yeah, this might be a Pep Guardiola thing, but they don't need a striker. They haven't even needed a striker, and this is the ridiculous thing. How can you have if any other team had Sergio Aguero, they'd be constantly playing him. They need the goals to win the league. Well, they've just shown that you don't need that. They've literally shown that. They need a striker. So what they do, they spend £100 million in an attacking midfielder. And as I said before, they're winning in a more competitive Premier League era. I'm always hearing this hype. Now, this is where fans need to be consistent and not chop and change when it suits them. We had a show not so long ago about top 5 leagues, and everybody was saying that the Premier League was the greatest, and the reason why it's the greatest is because it's the most competitive. So if Man City are winning in the most competitive league in world football, in arguably the most competitive time in Premier League football, they've got to be given the flowers for it. It's as simple as that.
I'll try to say personally, I don't think it's the most competitive time. I think Pep is just farming this league at this point. Because the issue is Pep Guardiola is so far ahead of every other manager in world football right now. It's not fair. Like, he's honestly going to farm any league he goes to. Aside from that, the league is not, like, apart from him, the league is not competitive at all. Like, let's be honest, like Klopp's like somewhat trying to keep up, but no one's really that scared. City fans aren't scared.
In a time when both Liverpool and Man City got plus 95 points to challenge for a title,
they weren't. I will tell you, they weren't scared. I was speaking to City fans. They were like, "Yeah, no, we've got this." Like they're so confident because Pep is so, like, they've got the squad, they've got the manager. They don't need to care about what other teams are doing because they know that they can just secure a league. It took a whole bunch of injuries. It literally took them to rip their midfield, put Fernandinho in at centre back for them not to win a league and lose Sergio Aguero to lots of injuries. Like, it took an injury-ridden season to make sure that and lockdown to make sure that they don't win a league. Like that, if it takes that amount, I don't think we can call this league competitive.
Well, we've got a caller who's coming on. Spliff Politics. Yeah, good to have you on. So, Man City, Pep's Man City. Is this the greatest Premier League team in history?
For me, yes. So there's two ways of looking at it. So if you're looking at it from a standpoint that's footballing related, so on the pitch, yes, this is definitely the best footballing Premier League team that I've seen. But if you look at it from other aspects, in terms of how quickly they were able to assemble this winning squad, that is a factor that a lot of people don't want to speak about when we speak about Man City, Pep Guardiola. They shrug it off. Now, I'm gonna give him his flowers for him as a coach and what he's able to excuse me, what he's able to instill into his teams, I'm going to give him his flowers for that, because he is, for me, the best coach in the world at the moment. But at the same time, I'm not going to disregard the fact that, yes, he's come in there being him and having his philosophy, playing the way that he wants, and instilling those values into the players. I'll give him his flowers for that. But when it comes to how they've done this compared to everyone else, now I take Manchester United out of that, because Manchester United, as a footballing institution, should never have allowed this to happen, because it's not like we don't have the money to spend and go and assemble teams to rival Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, these teams. We should be that, but we're not that. And the way that they did it was to just invest. Go on, just go and spend and buy whatever the manager wants. That's exactly the way that big football teams should operate. And we haven't done that for such a long time. But on the topic, I will say this City team is, for me, the best that I've seen in the Premier League.
What do you there's a few really interesting points that you've made there. You talked about how quick this team have been assembled. Do you just want to kind of elaborate on that point?
Well, it's pretty simple, really. When I say they've done it so quickly, in order to do something and assemble a team as good as this City team is, playing the way that they do in such a short period of time, it does take investment. It does. And it's no secret that Pep, in just one position, have actually gone out and just season upon season go and buy new players for that one position. Now he's done it in that, but he's done it in other areas also. Now I'm not saying that it's bad to spend and invest into your team, but what I'm saying is that we, as Premier League football teams, we have to sort of operate within certain parameters, and I feel like due to that, it's almost like we're all in an agreement in saying that these are the rules. City have broken those rules, and like I said at the beginning, I will give them their flowers for that. But when it comes to the rules, it's
the
a
rules.
no-no
The
for me.
rules. Okay, the rules are okay. It's the rule that they broke is that they overspent getting Wilfred Boney in. That's if we want to that was the transfer that put them over, Wilfred Boney. Now, if we're saying that Wilfred Boney is the guy who's made the difference to Pep Guardiola's success in terms of Premier League, then we can have that discussion. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying in terms of you feel like there's a bit of cheating going on here, so we shouldn't be perhaps condoning that.
No, that's exactly.
But every successful team has spent a bag full of cash, and let's not try and get away from it. As Manchester United fans, we've seen what at the time were big money transfers. Rio Ferdinand was not cheap when you think about the time. Even Michael Carrick wasn't cheap for the time. Wayne Rooney, United got themselves into a position. Yes, there was some, grafting. There's some, fortunate generational luck with the class of '92. For so many players to come through at the same time. You had Eric Cantona, but Man United for a number of years have made big money transfers. Throughout the years, in comparison to the whole Premier League season in that era.
No, I agree with that. In terms of, sorry, Sam, it looks like you wanted to say something, so just go ahead and say that, or just say to me, just go on with the next point if you want.
Oh no, you go. I'm just waiting. I'll wait for you.
Okay, so in relation to let's just agree to disagree, or agree to agree, or disagree to disagree. It doesn't really matter. Let's move on to the actual football, right? So the football that they play is just sensational, man. The way that Pep set that team up and the desire with which they play everyone, not just the midfield, the forwards, the backline, everyone. They're chasing everything down. I mean, they're not giving space. You see, you look at like a Pep Guardiola team, and you because it's Pep Guardiola, you think tiki taka. But I think that sort of tagline, that name that was given, is no longer it's no longer something that is synonymous with Pep. It's not just that, because before we looked at it as he's this tiki taka possession based manager, and that was it, you know. But now you see Pep Guardiola teams, yes, they do keep the ball well, but they also don't give you time on the ball. So there is that hard work element. It's a mixture of a gegenpress and tiki taka, essentially, high intensity. And watching it, it just makes me as a United fan think this is exactly what we should be looking like. We don't, and it's painful, mate, honestly. And I think the whole fan base is feeling that at the moment as well.
Well, that's a really good point. That's a really good point, and we'll probably hopefully we'll hear from I'm assuming, going by the comments, that you're a United fan, but yeah, we want to kind of get people's comments on this, because ultimately we're thinking, well, surely somewhere people are getting annoyed by this. I have seen a comment and just come in that says, about winning it 3 times in a row, but these kind of arguments, like, feel free to call in and have your say, because it is a valid point. But that's what, as United fans, we're getting restricted to, these little nuanced arguments now. Oh, but have they won it 3 times and this, that, and the other? They've literally battered us in everything. You think about Man United's record points total. You think about Man United's record wins total. You think about goal difference. We've been brushed aside. Like, we're an afterthought now. Now we're left with, well, who's won it 3 times? Well, what happens when City win it 3 times? Because this is where it's getting. This is where it's going. I feel like these little arguments that we've had back in the day, it's becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. And sometimes you might just have to accept where this is actually going. But it'll be good to hear from that fan with regards to the three in a row. But Spliff, I imagine that you'll probably share your comments to your other United cronies. But yeah, feel free to get them on, because it'll be really good to
He said
see
Cronies. Wow.
cronies. You sound like an elder gentleman. But no, it's good to have you on, and yeah, we'll hopefully speak to you in another show.
All right, lads, take it easy.
Take care.
But let's be honest. It is a very depressing time. He's absolutely right about that, Spliff politics.
Yeah,
very,
definitely.
very, very depressing time. But as I said, like, you're probably going through a situation here, Sam, where United, arguably, well, even arguably, seen as the glory hunters. Everybody and their wives are supporting them.
You can't call us a glory hunter.
No, that's maybe there's a bit of fun in that respect. But you're probably going to get a generation of fans who are generally going to be supporting Man City, because there is that entertainment factor. You look at them; they are an entertaining team. We all laugh at Empty Had and all that, and poke fun, a bit of banter here and there, say that they're not a big club because yes, they got a hardcore 30,000, but then filling the rest of it has been challenging. I'm sure there's plenty of Man City fans who could probably argue this, but their football is still entertaining. They still get the goals. You get your value for money. You start looking around other teams. Can you say that about them?
I think right now, Man City, to me, is the only team that plays attractive football. say what you want. People are gonna now say, "Oh, Liverpool, Klopp's football is so amazing." Blah blah blah. To me, I don't think that is near the level of what Pep has produced at Man City. Pep's football is just, it's just the way, like, watching them just play football. It's just like, wow. It's just wow. You have to be in awe sometimes, because Pep doesn't even change. He doesn't even have to change his tactics that much. All he does was just like switch a player here and there, just move people. Sometimes he's just moving people around. He's not even like changing the lineup. He'll just say, "You go left wing," and you're not even and you'll be a right back, but you'd be like, "Okay, fine." And then now you've now scored three goals and gone to 2 assists, and like you've now like ripped up the whole game and gone man the match. Like the guy, what the guy is able to do, like Klopp. If you took Trent out of the team, there's a drop off. If you there is no player in Man City, if you take them out, that there is a reasonable drop off. Even KDB has been injured for a whole season, and these guys won a domestic treble.
But there you go. But that's the thing, isn't it? That's the reality, and this is what makes them great. Man United lose Paul Pogba, who you could argue is the KDB equivalent, and they said we're done. We're getting out the.
We saw it.
Legitimate excuses, but we're saying, hang on, we can't win the season because our best players are out. Man City go lose Aguero and KDB, or they just don't play, and they still go win trophies. You just make it make sense, like. but this is the thing. This is the thing. Go on.
All the best teams, though, like even if like, because people might not say this, but if you look at the past United teams, you've been able to say, "Oh, someone's injured. Okay, we still have amazing bench players. You still have people to bring on." Like there was a time where like we had Nani on the bench. We had like we would have Berbatov and like all these people, and we're thinking, "Oh, you could just chuck them on for a game. It isn't making any difference. It doesn't matter if Rooney got injured for a game. We had someone to back him up." But because there's no, I don't think there's any other team in Europe right now that can say, oh, so one of our supposed top players is injured. That's fine. Like if PSG, we saw it, PSG without Mbappe, bro, they couldn't handle Nice. Like Bayern Munich, if Lewandowski gets injured, the game's done for them. We saw it last season, Champions League, and even during that run. Even Kimmich getting injured as well this season has derailed them.
Yeah,
there's like, I think people need to realize that right now with Man City, they have structured themselves too well, way too well, because they've been planning this for nigh on a decade.
Yeah.
If you give someone a decade to plan how to dominate football, they've looked at the current landscape, gotten the best analysts, the best manager, and said, you know what, we're just gonna see who's out there, just basically like get all the best people around, even their medical staff. Ridiculous. Like nothing, like even the food, they've all got nutritionists and all these like all their players are in peak condition. All their coaches are top coaches. You never, you don't even need to know some of their names. You just watch the football and you know that they're just performing well. And like no team is able to do that for one reason of not having a good structure. Another team is that they're too reliant on one person, and it's just like, well, no, like they've just literally shaped themselves. Even if Pep leaves, don't expect this to stop. Don't expect people really think this is ending. They're getting in like another manager, maybe like Enrique, after he's done in Spain, and then it's probably going to get worse.
Yeah, for me, I think no other fans. Chelsea fans seem to be very quiet, which is surprising. Usually got plenty to say when it comes to them having their greatest team ever. Maybe for once they've actually realised that the Mourinho, Abramovich days aren't perhaps as good as what they first thought. Arsenal fans. Like I'm surprised that there's no Arsenal fan ranting and raving about the Invincibles.
They can't talk. They can't talk. They know they can't talk as well. I think with Arsenal fans, they've realized their team has been down bad for almost 20 years now. Like they haven't won a league in almost 20
Okay.
years. They've realized that their team hasn't even been able to sustain even a level of success for like 3 seasons. They can't compete with Man City, who's been doing it since Pep's second season, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like it's unfair.
Well, so guys, don't forget, make sure you hit that like button on this one. Always make sure we keep hitting that. Get this trending, and share this, because ultimately these are big conversations to have. We may not say fancy coming in live and having that discussion, but let's start that conversation. Sam and I and a couple of others from the ministry, we do like to hit up the Twitter spaces. And we do like to broach subjects like these, as well as numerous ones, probably maybe a bit more current affairs in the moment. But we do that during the week, so we'll be available in the evenings to do that. We also join others as well, because it's a big football community. It's not just always just about the ministry. We want to, so I said, approach anybody and everybody of all different fan bases. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. We're also on Instagram. So again, if there's something that you want to share with us, then free to hit me up at Jinky Knows or at Doctor Who Sam 7, and also the ministry web. So yeah, make sure you keep hitting that and keep following us on there. So yeah, Sam, I think to be honest, I'm not been swayed in terms of what Man City are doing. Facts are there. This isn't opinion based. It's something that's going to hurt a lot of Man United fans. They're probably sulking because of yesterday. I am, to be honest. Well, I say I'm sulking.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just kind of like just accepting reality.
Yeah.
A lot of fans who are quite optimistic about things will say that there is a change in place. Trust rangnick process. Fair enough. But we'll just have to wait and see. But until such time, Man City are going to keep racking up. And the sad reality is, the only team that could potentially stop them from really cementing this conversation about them being the greatest team ever is our arch rivals, which is Liverpool.
We just have to hope that somehow next season Chelsea do a madness, buying like Lewandowski, like getting the best squad, and like that's the only thing we have to really hope now, because it's a sad time to be a United fan, because on one side you've got Man City just farming leagues, the other side you've got Liverpool, who are basically, if Man City don't win, Liverpool are gonna win. So like, what do you really take there? But in terms of all time, I'm still not convinced about them being the all-time best team. If you're talking about right now, I'd say they're the best team and an institution in general probably in the world. But in terms of like, I'm looking at this team, I'm thinking, if they go up against certain teams of the past, will they win a game? I don't think so. I don't see this side beating the 08 United team. I don't see this side beating the Jose Chelsea team.
You don't?
I don't. I honestly don't. I don't see this side. Will they beat the Invincibles? Probably. Like, I love Henry, but
isn't Pep's record against Jose though quite superior?
Yeah, but that in terms of that particular team though, it was a bit crazy. Like the squad they had and the players they had, I'm just not convinced that. Like, because if you look at the teams that like he's gone up against, like Pep's in general had quite like a lot better teams than Jose has had at times, and that's what's like helped him to. But in terms of this current Man City team and that Jose Chelsea team, like that Chelsea team is in terms of pure player individuality is amazing. It's like, and I don't think that Pep's team would be able to compete with that.
Right. I think we've got a call that's just literally just jumped in the 11th hour. So yeah, Violets, who I believe is a Man City fan. So Pep's Man City. Are we going to say that this is the greatest Premier League team in history? I imagine what your answer will be to
that. The personally, for me, the Centurion team is the best Premier League side I've ever seen. 100 points, best defensive record, best winning streak. I mean, come on. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I get what you're saying about the Chelsea team, but on the defensive side, I understand. But guess which team stopped Chelsea going invincible that season? Man City.
No.
I know if you want to talk on, if you made a combined 11 of the two of teams that are up for competition with that, United's treble team, the 08 team, the 08 of the 0405 team, you might have a mixture of players. You might have it more way towards United, you might have it more way towards Chelsea. But if you're talking as a team, not on an individual basis, coach taking into consideration the talent that we had, the performances we were putting out, I would say that is the best team that the Premier League's ever seen.
I still don't know about that. I personally, 08 side that was taking on the likes of Chelsea and Barcelona, that's a bit of a different.
Did the double on you that season.
But this is the thing is though, Sam, and I feel like you struggle all night when it comes to this. This is we're talking Premier League history.
I understand that, but you have to take into account that they are fighting on all fronts. It will affect your Premier League status if you're going up against some of the greatest sides ever in football. Like, it's not like.
But Man City, Man City, for like last 4 or 5 seasons, have had the quadruple discussions. It always gets to February time because they always win the bloody Carabao Cup. So thank God that. Well, I say thank God that this year's different. Well, Liverpool bloody won it, so it's no better. But the fact is that there's always quadruple discussion. So they're quite clearly fighting on all fronts. So I'm not sure that necessarily validates what you're saying about.
No, but they haven't been able to get to the finish line on all fronts. Like, they haven't done that. Not that treble, that domestic treble, like the real treble. They haven't actually been able to hit that, like, because that is all the top competitions that they can do in football.
Premier League. We're talking the 30 games in the season that you play. We're not talking about the Champions League or the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. We're talking about the Premier League. If you want to throw that into consideration, then I hear it. I really do.
Which I understand, but the fact that you're competing on all 4 fronts, it means that you can have more rotation, more games. You're going to struggle with injuries a lot more. There's a lot to contend with, and being tactically good in more than one cup competition and winning that cup competition while also being consistent in the league.
In fairness, though, we have a massive squad of talent. United didn't have that, and Chelsea didn't have that. It wasn't the depth they had. It wasn't like you had a class backup for every single position on the pitch. Every single one, and not just one replacement, one or two.
In terms of quality, in terms of the skill, I could see a debate there. I think the thing that Man United had in that time was a fantastic balance, which was you generally had a class starting 11, but you had class squad players who were prepared to die for the cause, who were still, I won't say accepting that they were squad players, but they weren't making a fuss. And ultimately, Sir Alex Ferguson was the one that leading that. And behind every successful team, you are going to have a fantastic manager. And Pep Guardiola is no different. And even Klopp, you dismiss this manager, you're gone. You can't challenge him. He is the law, which I love. At the end of the day, managers have their say. They should be in control. None of this crap that we're seeing currently on the other side with United. But Violet, I just want to so one or two more questions for you. Why is it that you think Man City don't get that credit? You know, listening to one of the callers earlier, they're talking about the financial side of things, perhaps breaking FFP. Do you think that's where you perhaps shouldn't get the credit in terms of being the greatest Prem team ever?
No, because I'll tell you why. Because if you actually go back to when United had these teams, Chelsea had theirs, and that it was a completely different market, so there was going to be different prices. The market today is a lot more expensive. Players are overrated and they're overpriced. If you actually match, I know it's all predictability and also hypothetical, but if you actually match the prices of the modern games back then and vice versa, it's actually not that much different as you would think. And as well as the Centurion season, you've got to look at the team that Pep Guardiola took over. We had the oldest squad in the top 6. We lost 11 out of 12 games against the top 6. It was the lowest finish in the past 5 years. It was honestly, it was mad. So it wasn't like he took over a team full of superstars. Because look how long it took Alex Ferguson to get that double. It took him 18 years, over 18 years, to get to that stage. So the fact that Pep's done it in that amount of time, it's just, I think it's just jealousy. I think it's just jealousy.
And would you say as a City fan that this current sort of Pep team, would you say that's the most entertaining? So take the wins aside. But the actual value that you're getting on the pitch, is this the most entertaining?
As in,
is this the best you've seen it?
Wise,
yeah.
No, entertainment-wise, I would say it was the 98, 97 points with Liverpool. I think that's the most entertaining City side we've seen because of how intense the title race was. But in terms of pure domination, pure class, and all that, definitely the Centurion season. That was just incredible.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, because for me, and this will be the sort of final point before I let you go. The argument I've always heard, predominantly from either pundits on your Sky Sports and BTs, from Manchester United fans, is that City have to keep showing that it's an era of dominance. Now, the fact that we're having a discussion about Man City pushing for a 4th title in 5 seasons, to me, feels like an era of dominance. Unless we're going to try to redefine that rule again, and it has to be something else. But that's the thing. So I want to use the Centurion season, the 98, because let's be honest, when you look at Man City's last 5 seasons, the worst season's been finishing 2nd.
What's weird to me, especially though, is this whole thing of Arsenal in the Premier League. Like, they haven't shown this level of dominance, but they are accepted as as one of the big dogs. But Man City have shown more dominance, and then they happen to now they need to do it for longer. I think they just moved the goalposts which is why I put Man City quite high up, and especially. And I don't put Arsenal as high up, because I think Man City have shown a higher level of dominance and have done basically everything that they could have done plus more. And with the whole FFP thing, personally, I don't even agree with FFP, because I think FFP is just a way to keep smaller clubs down and keep the top clubs where they are, which is a whole nother conversation. I think Man City actually going around that is encouragement to other clubs that you don't have to just sit down and take what's been there. And ultimately, it can make the Premier League a better league if everyone is able to just spend and get in good players.
Yeah. Well, some really good points there. Thank you for coming on. It's always actually good to hear from a Man City fan. I know there's jokes about they're few and far between, but it's good to actually hear from one. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. I think what we'll need to do, Sam, is get a poll out via the ministry and actually just put the question out there. Who do fans generally think was, is the greatest Premier League team in terms of the Premier League history? Is it this Man City squad that we're talking about? Are we talking about the Manchester United at 08? Are we talking about Manchester United 99? Because I think it was SW9 on here. You talked about Man United won it 3 times in a row. So you got that era of dominance.
True.
You got the 99 season. You got the Arsenal Invincibles. I will put in that Chelsea 2005 team.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to hit the lowest one. But I'm actually if Ministry can put that out and let's get that one retweeted to all the fan bases, because I really want to see it. I really want to see it. I don't want it to be some popularity contest, and I want fans to be genuinely honest. I want them to be genuinely honest and say, you know what? Yeah, I genuinely think that was a dominant era. But that is probably the Man City argument discussed for today. I think going on next week, guys, and the following weeks, we've got some exciting shows, some shows that are quite interlinked actually, and it's all to do with partnerships. So for the remainder of March, we're going to be talking partnerships. Now, next week is going to be a bit more attacking based. I'm not going to be totally on top and tell you exactly what it is, but it's going to be partnerships and it's going to be attacking. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. We'll be hinting throughout the week what we'll be talking about, and I know that there's plenty of fans, certainly fanboys out there when it will come to this debate. So it'd be really good to have you on, have your say there. But for tonight, I think that we'll just leave it at that. Sam, any sort of just quick final thoughts from you?
It's gonna be a long, I don't know, as many years as Man City can stay afloat. It's gonna be a long few years. I think right now they are probably, quote unquote, without having actually like proven it, they are probably the best team in Europe right now. And I mean proven it in terms of winning the Champions League, but they're probably the best team in Europe right now. Premier League all time, I'm still not too sure about. They haven't done it on all fronts for me yet at the highest levels, and that's a very difficult thing to actually do, compete on all levels and maintain consistency across all 3 competitions. Very difficult. That's why not a lot of teams have done it. But yeah, you have to give him his credit. I think some other rivals need to actually look at their own teams and realize you're not as big. You're not doing what Pep's doing right now.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to end this on a couple of notes here. Just on the live chats before we head off. City are beatable. They are a well-drilled team. Everybody knows their roles. And I think it's quite a nice one, given the location here. Hello from Brazil, guys. Gunner since 2003. Well, I'm sorry that you've been a Gunner for so long. Probably joined at the worst period, but
wait, has he seen his team win a league?
I think just if he was a Gunner since then, but no, the fact that we're reaching out to Brazil is a cool thing. So David, feel free to jump on a call next week if you're a Gooner. It'd be really good to hear your thoughts, certainly from Brazil and how you see football. But guys, thank you for today, and we'll see you next week. The standard time of a Sunday. Appreciate that today it's been a bit different. So we'll see you next week on Sunday. All the best. Take care.